Hello. Writing began as documentation of the spoken word. But in today's age, letters themselves have voices of their own. Apart from storing and displaying information, the visual style of letters is used to represent ideas and express emotions. As type designers, we draw letter forms in different styles, having different voices and used for different purposes. And in a country like ours, for different languages as well. As of now, we've designed fonts in 17 different writing systems. Sometimes we draw letters just for fun. You can think of them as our sketches or personal practice. But most of the times, we draw in response to a brief. These briefs can either be proactive or given by a client. They can be visual or verbal. Sometimes they are well defined, but they can be open ended as well. Depending on the brief, we could be working with a single letter or a single word for a logo or a monogram, a group of words for a book or a movie title, or an entire writing system for a font, or several writing systems for a multi script type family. Some people think that there are already enough fonts out in the world and they do not understand why we need to design more. So today I'll be talking about three very different client requirements and the lettering and new typefaces that we've designed for them. I will share some of our challenges, behind the scenes stories, and some reasons why clients saw value in commissioning these works. An obvious requirement is custom typography for brand identities. A logotype is the visual representation of the brand name itself, and a brand font is what binds the identity together. Having a custom logotype adds uniqueness to the brand. Clients in these scenarios are designing. Okay, sorry, I'm hearing an echo of myself. Is that okay? Okay. Mm. Clients in these scenarios are branding agencies or corporate design teams. As part of the brief, they give us an overview of brand positioning, design directions, and potential use cases. They also share visual cues in the form of sketches or mood boards. We make multiple variations before the final shortlist. We also design multilingual versions if required. Several case studies show that using regional languages results in more trust and better connect with the audience. Many a times, we see that the typographic voices of brands get lost in translation. Either the identity of the brand, in case of Tesla, or the legibility of the writing system, in case of Sprite, seems out of place. Clients with existing Latin logos often commission us to extend their identities to Indian languages. When we do so, we try to strike a balance between the visual voice of the brand and the nuance of the regional script. Designing multi-script logos is a common requirement for pan-India brands. Clients usually send us their existing logos along with transliterations in different scripts. These briefs are very straightforward, but the solutions may not be. There isn't a set formula that will work every time. For correct visual translations, it is necessary to accept the inherent differences in the scripts rather than focusing only on their compatibility with Latin. When brand names are transliterated into different languages, the length of the brand name can be drastically different across different scripts. or the length and frequency of ascenders and descenders can vary as well. Many a times, design agencies do not anticipate these issues while setting brand guidelines. And if they set brand guidelines based on Latin only, they are in for a shock. In most projects, clients cannot read most of the scripts that they have commissioned. They can at most read or recognize 2 to 3 scripts. Explaining the nuances of different scripts is a part of the process now. These projects not only help brands to reach wider audiences, but they are fun for us too. We get to quickly try out a lot of different styles in multiple scripts. It gives us an overview of trends and demands, and also some hints for potential multi-script families. We receive similar briefs for type design projects as well, where we have to extend the existing brand font to include more writing systems. Conceptually, these projects are very similar to the multi-script logo projects, but the timelines and deliverables are drastically different for both. Multi-script logos usually require 3 to 4 weeks, but a typeface can require a minimum of 4 months and can extend up to a year or more. Logos are just vectors, but fonts, on the other hand, are tiny softwares that require cross-platform compatibility or multi-application testing. Type design briefs are more elaborate as well. They outline the visual essence of the brand, its functional scope, language support, technical restrictions, and expected font engineering standards. We had to design the Devanagari and Tamil versions of YouTube's brand font. From the visual design perspective, YouTube Sans is a really large type family. It has 7 weights. It has a rounded version as well, and 3 grades and 3 optical sizes. We begin by studying the existing brand font and sketching out potential visual features for Devanagari and Tamil. We harmonize the weight, width, and the height with the existing Latin. We start with the root letters and complete the glyph set in phases. This also includes stylistic alternates for different languages. In case anybody was wondering what optical sizes and grades meant. In optical sizes, fonts are optimized for different text sizes. So in YouTube Sans, the spacing between the letters increases as the letters become smaller. This ensures compact headlines. At the same time, the legibility or the readability of the text in smaller sizes is retained. There are 3 optical sizes: 18 points, 48 points, and 120 points. You can see the difference in the optical sizes here. Grade is an interesting feature as well. In the grade axis, the letters become lighter without changes to the width of the word. Have any of you noticed that text looks heavier when it is set in reverse? Black text on white looks lighter than white text on black. Grades are important so that the light and dark modes of interfaces appear the same. These are subtle features that enhance the user experience. Custom fonts are important not just for aesthetic or functional purposes. They are also exclusive and cost-effective. These are brand assets worth monetary value and legal ownership. In the previous scenario, the scope and the limitations of the project were predefined. But sometimes, briefs allow for exploration. It does not define what you draw, but rather how you draw it or the format in which the font is going to be made available. Google Fonts asked us to design a color font using the Color V1 technology. Color V1 is the font format that is most commonly used for emojis. Yes, emojis are also fonts. Some features of this technology include use of reusable component shapes, gradient color, and font variation. But we did not have to design emoji. Instead, we had to use the same technology to design a typeface inspired by the vibrant street lettering that we see here. I will show you the output first and then delve deeper into the process of designing it. The font is called Honk. For this project, we had to design a system that was inspired by lettering, but not limited to a single style. We designed 10 different styles, ranging from subtle to ornate, using the box lettering style as base. These styles could be used independently by themselves or in sync with each other, like you saw before. Each letter was composed of pre-designed components, okay, and had multiple layers. This typeface is essentially a giant puzzle that moves. As we started adding styles, this puzzle became humanly impossible to manage. What you see on the screen here are the different components that were required for a single letter. And this typeface has 700 characters. So this project pushed us to try things that we would not have attempted otherwise. We figured out ways to automate the font generation process. We did not design in color or overlapping layers. We designed in a single layer, devoid of color, and we let the code do the heavy lifting. We had worked with variable fonts before, but this time, the fluid motion and the morphing were a part of the design itself. It looks like animation, but it is actually editable text. Usually, we see only capital letters in this style. But Honk includes lowercase, numerals, punctuations, and an extensive set of diacritic marks. It also has flags, dingbats, and some preset color palettes as well. In this project, the brief was to experiment with a new format. The usability of the design was secondary. Nonetheless, we had a lot of fun in making these samplers. The last project that I'll be talking about today is Nitya Ranjana. It's a typeface based on the calligraphic style of Ranjana script from Nepal. Ranjana is a stunningly beautiful writing system. It originated sometime between the 8th and the 11th centuries and was used to write Buddhist and Hindu texts. It shares some similarities with scripts like Devanagari and Bangla, but it's quite different from both of them. It has prominent visual features like a large base letter height and really short ascenders and descenders. There's a distinct curved headline on top of each letter. It also has these large knots and filled counter shapes. In India, we are most likely to see this script in museums or on prayer wheels in monasteries in the Himalayan region. But in Nepal, the usage is quite different. This script holds cultural and historical significance for the Newar people of Kathmandu Valley, and it is used in contemporary contexts as well. So like for signages, you see it in newspapers as well. This script has a rich legacy in manuscript calligraphy, both on palm leaf and paper. You see stone inscriptions. It is seen on metal engraving as well. But its digital presence has been limited due to its visual complexity, non-inclusive language policies, and lack of Unicode support. This project began with an interesting email. Sometime in October of 2021, a person named Murli Prahlad reached out to us. He had stumbled upon one of our Devanagari typefaces, Jaini. So Jaini is a revival based on the calligraphy found in Kalpasutra manuscripts from around 15th century. And Murli was looking for a similar typeface in Ranjana. With no background in design, Murli had attempted to digitize Ranjana himself by using PowerPoint. Yeah. But after seeing Jaini, he realized the difference in quality and functionality, and he decided to email us. Murli's reason for commissioning this project was personal and non-commercial. He was fascinated by the transmission of Indian ideas with the spread of Buddhism. He was particularly interested in scripts that were used to write Sanskrit outside of India, and Ranjana was one of them. He did not have a specific visual style in mind or a particular purpose for which he wanted to use the typeface. He gave us an open brief and asked us to define the scope of work. In the beginning, we were very skeptical about this project. We get many inquiries like this, but most of them usually fizzle out the moment we send the cost and timelines. But Murli was determined to make it work. The other bigger problem was that we knew almost nothing about Ranjana script. Whatever little we knew was from the presentations and YouTube videos by Kali Jatra. Kali Jatra is this amazing organization from Nepal. They regularly take workshops, give demonstrations, create teaching material, and promote the use of Ranjana and other Nepal scripts. So we reached out to Anand Kumar Mahajan, that's him in the blue t-shirt, to ask about a possible collaboration. And he agreed. To start off, he sent us lots of material to study. Books, images, presentations, YouTube videos, manuscripts, manuscript collections, and some existing fonts. When we work with a writing system we do not know, we start by learning it from different sources. By learning, I mean not just orienting ourselves with the characters and rules, but observing writing mannerism, studying different styles, understanding user preferences. We spent the first 3 months of this project in learning the script and practicing calligraphy. That is my co-designer, Tathagat Biswas. We studied styles from different manuscripts. We made comparison charts of characters from different sources. And we traced a few letters from the manuscripts to understand the styles better. A variety of styles emerged, of course. These styles could be divided into 3 broad categories. A very heavy, bold style that is seen on stone or metal engraving. The second style represents manuscript calligraphy. And the third style is the contemporary style that's practiced today. We discussed our observations with Ananda and asked a lot of questions. There was a lot of learning and unlearning at this stage. Many of the design features and stylistic alternates in this font are an outcome of this study. For example, look at the matras in the top line. They are ornate as compared to the matra in the bottom line. Simultaneously, we started discussing the brief, the scope, and the limitations of this project with Murli and Ananda. We discussed possible use case and hence the minimum point size at which this font could be used. To be honest, we had a very narrow point of view. Because we were looking at so many historical examples, we couldn't imagine this typeface to be used in digital contexts. But Ananda said something that just blew our minds. He said he wants to use this typeface everywhere, even for texting on his phone. This led us to rethink the weight and the legibility of this typeface at smaller point sizes as well. After a few trials, we shortlisted the weight and started working on additional characters. At every step, Ananda would give us lots of feedback. Tathagat and I were outsiders to this script. We had to keep in mind that our likes and dislikes were irrelevant while making design decisions. As the user and script expert, it was Ananda's opinion that mattered the most. Eventually, we arrived here. These are the vowels, consonants, and matras in Nitya Ranjana. But this was just the beginning. Ranjana has many unique rules. Consonants in Ranjana are divided into 4 groups. These groups determine conjunct formation or the style of matra that will come along with it. So what you see on the right, okay. The style of the matra changes depending on the consonant that follows it. Ranjana also has a very large and complex conjunct set. These are the relatively simpler 2-letter conjuncts. Then we have 3-letter conjuncts. And there are some 4 and 5-letter conjunct as well. This typeface supports Nepal Bhasha, Sanskrit, and Pali. So there are around 780 stacked conjuncts. It is challenging to draw these conjuncts. Conjuncts have the same height as the base letters, irrespective of their complexity. Ranjana also has a lot of contextual forms. In simpler words, it means that the characters change their shape based on the characters that come before or after it. Each character needed multiple variations to combine with other characters. So these are just the different versions of K that were required. We had to design 600 additional forms to correctly render all the contextual alternates. This typeface required extensive use of OpenType feature code to make it functional and exhaustive testing to make sure that all the features worked as intended. Here's a closer view of the test case. Apart from this, there are numbers, punctuations, symbols. And since this typeface was going to be used in contemporary contexts, it has support for Latin punctuation as well. Another interesting feature of Ranjana are these kutakshars or monogram-like forms that you see here. Normally, Ranjana characters are set horizontally. But in some special cases, they're also stacked vertically. Okay? So the characters stack one below the other. Certain important mantras can be stacked in multiple ways. In Nitya Ranjana, you can access these forms with stylistic sets. Drawing these kutakshars was pure indulgence. Okay. And once we got a hang of it, we designed 2 more, just for fun. And this is Ektype, and here is Kali Jatra. Yeah, okay. This project took about a year and a half to complete, and it is named after Murli's daughter. Nitya Ranjana is not the first digital typeface in Ranjana script, but it is currently the most exhaustive and most convenient to use. It is also open source. See, without the efforts of the Newari people, the calligraphers, script experts, type designers, this script may not have survived till date. So it was very important that it was made freely available for the community to use. For the release of this project, Kali Jatra organized an exhibition and press conference in Kathmandu last year. And thanks to their efforts, we started seeing this font in use almost immediately after release. I'll show you a few samples. It started with social media posts, posters for a music festival, in cultural events. Yeah. Now it is used in books and publications as well. The Municipal Corporation of Kathmandu city has started using Nitya Ranjana for new signages. Yeah, yeah, that was nice. We were not able to visit Nepal during this project or for the launch, but I hope to visit and see these examples in use someday. In spite of being out there, this project is not yet over. Like I said, Ranjana does not have its own Unicode. Currently, this font is mapped to Devanagari and Neva Unicode. Hopefully, we'll be able to port it to Ranjana Unicode in future. This project meant different things for different people. For Murli, it was about preserving Sanskrit for the future generations. For Ananda and Kali Jatra, it was about the ease and the want of using their script on the digital platform. And for us, it was about taking on a new challenge to balance Ranjana's heritage with its contemporary requirements. Thank you. Yeah. Hi. Ah.
I think you need to stand up. I think everybody needs to stand up for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Nupur, first question, what is wrong with you type designers? Gluttons for punishment?
I think we're just wired differently, I guess.
And you went and did extra stuff for fun as well, as if this wasn't punishment enough. Right. In the recent protests in Nepal that happened,
Yeah.
was your font used in any of the protest pamphlets?
No, we were just concerned if all the Kali Jatra team was all right. But no.
There's something beautiful about two categories of people. One is type designers and the other is cinematographers. You can have a really shitty movie, but the cinematography can be excellent. Right? With type designers, you can have terrible clickbait headlines or television headlines that are nation wants to know type, but the typeface can be beautiful and it can still look good, right? With type designers. So, it's a nice place to be for a type designer or a cinematographer. All right, we can't let Nupur go without questions. Please, hands up for questions. What? Yes. We might need some audience light. Whoever's controlling the light. Yeah. Mic there, please. Yeah, it's coming to you. It's coming from me. No, don't shout and all. Use a mic.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. It was a refresher to not hear the word AI in the whole thing. So, but I'm not saying that. My name is Kiran, huge fan of Type since a very long time. So, my question is, how do you decide which typeface you sell, and how do you decide which is that you put for free in Google Fonts? For example, Balu is out free, I think Modak is also there, or Mukta. And when does it come to a position when you decide that I'm going to sell this one, so I'm going to build it that way? Or do you put the same effort in both and decide that some part of it is going to be free?
Yes, okay. We don't decide, actually. the rest of my work is open source. Also, some of it is proprietary also. So in this particular case, say Nitya Ranjana, there is a sponsor who's funded this project, right? So it's not that I have done it for free. He's funded, Murli funded the project, but he was also willing to share it with everyone. And so it is open source. So quality-wise, there is no difference in if I'm going to open source something or keep it for myself.
Just a sec, you need to reduce the reverb slightly on the stage monitors. We're hearing too much echo. It's hard to hear. See if you can just tweak that. All right. Any more questions? Yeah. Middle of the hall. Just stand up, no? So easier to see you for the mic. Yeah, one here, one there. Yeah, got it. Mic, please. Can somebody run with the mic? Run. Don't walk.
Hi.
The large hall.
I'm Chris, and Ranjana, I have two questions. One,
No, any one question you can ask. No two or not.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they're very simple.
Okay.
First one, I want to learn font design. So how should I go about it? Because I want to create my own font. And the second one, which you're not really revealing, how much does it cost for a font?
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right.
So
Okay, so Nupur, first, how much does it cost? Second, can I do it myself on Canva? She wants to know two things.
Yes. Okay. If you really want to do it, you need to have 6 months. 6 months full time. Apply for internship. I'll say. Yeah. There's no easy way.
anything for working professionals?
Are you willing to give 2 hours of your every day to learn?
I'm willing.
Okay, then I'm going to meet.
Are you willing to pay a lot to learn?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And the cost, there is a person called Sarang Kulkarni sitting right there. Okay. So you meet him and talk to him about.
Yeah, Sarang Kulkarni, yeah, he's the cost man. So
Yeah.
she's the artist person, he's the cost man. Yeah, but seriously, Nupur,
Yeah.
we see a lot of hand skill required in this. Right? In the age of AI, I think he also mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing to see you manually draw and paint every single letter form. Can't we just feed this whole Ranjana, the temple fonts, into an AI black box and it generates all of it? And then, is there a risk that human skill is going to get taken out of this picture?
Somewhere in this project, I did feel that some automation would have helped.
Actually, good for you.
It would have been
Instead
good.
of
Yes. Fortunately or unfortunately, AI is right now not able to draw letters.
take that AI,
Yeah, okay.
stick it to AI.
So it's definitely able to do a lot of adding texture, adding flavors to existing type, but drawing type by itself is something that's not happening.
Very good. I'm happy to hear that. Next question, somebody, yeah. Mike, yeah, you got the mic. Go ahead.
I think just follow up to Krishnam. So we have a very small studio and we've been trying to make a typography. We have seen a lot of street lettering, and there are artists who could have been something, and life led them differently. It's just a passion project, just like this one. Maybe we are the Mulli in this story, and we don't get to ever make it for real. But right now, what we are the problem, quite literally, is we're trying to find better kernings for fonts that have almost evaporated from graphics. So there's a particular letter I'm very interested in. It's like but it has traveled from India to Arabic countries and come back, and it's pretty complicated. So we are using font self, we are using glyph to just get the sense of it. Very technical. I don't know. This is the right place to ask it.
What's your question, though?
Yeah. So how do I optimize for this? Like, what's the tactical way to go about it?
Do you have right to modify whatever you're modifying?
I guess.
All right, a practical way is to see if you have the rights to modify it. Okay, I'm going to ask you to tackle this question offline. I think it's a complicated technical question that might need
Yeah.
visual illustration to show you. May not be able to do it on stage. I saw some hands, and I'll go to the back of the hall first.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just a minute. So if you can meet me outside and show me what you're talking about, maybe I'll be...
Might be easier. It might be tough to do it on stage. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Nupur.
Hello.
Kudos to the work you do, and kudos to Murli, who made it open source as well. My question is like whenever you try with different languages, scripts, and everything, will just be it just you find it as a vector, or you push yourself to understand what something means, the pronunciation of a particular letter when it is paired with something else. And did you do that, or else it's just the vector out of it?
So generally, because we work with multiple writing systems here, we have a team of designers who are experts in their particular languages and scripts. So a person who knows a particular script would be working on that project, right? So in this case, because we didn't know Ranjana, we brought on an expert to work with us. So they're not independent of where they are going to be used in that sense. But can they be, but while we are designing, that is not something I'm thinking about.
God.
Yeah.
We can go a little over. Oh, no, sorry. We are running out of time. I'm sorry. You have to tackle the remaining questions. Nupur, I know there are many questions for you.
Yes.
Fascinating presentation, but we have to stay on schedule. Thank you so much. A big round of applause once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.